Alrighty then. Howdy everybody. This was the last week of the Boylston Tuesday night Swiss tournament. I had been doing, I entered tonight with one win, one loss, one draw. Given I was the highest seed in the middle section this month, being 1-1-1 is a pretty big disappointment. It kind of tallies up about 40 points of rating loss or so. And for the last round, I was paired against Kartik. I asked Kartik how to pronounce his last name as well. Super nice guy. Here, I'm going to give it a shot. He made a joke. He said, if you can't pronounce it, call me Mr. Parmesan, because it has all the letters. So he is Kartik Parmesan, but it was Parameswaran, I believe. So if anyone knows the pronunciation and can let me know if I did a good job or a bad job, let me know. But I like to pride myself on accents. I can do a lot of accents, but hopefully I nailed that one. Parameswaran. He said it sounds like that. For the Indian style, by the way, that's what he said. There's an American style, but I go for authenticity. All right. Kartik started playing at Boylston a few months ago. He is still in provisionals, so I do not know what his rating will end up. We'll see. This was a very exciting game. Well, it was a very exciting opening. I'm not going to tell you who won or lost or drew, but I had a very nice opening, and I kind of sat on that lead for a while. And then maybe something happens, so you're going to have to find out. I have entered it already into my laptop because I wanted to double check something. I don't know if you guys can see that notation. So I do know there were a few things that I basically wanted to check myself. So while I go through, again, some games I have spoilers on, some games I don't. And the main reason is because I played a new opening tonight. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about Kartik. Kartik was up on time. I did jot the times, but they weren't that relevant. I'll try to denote a few situations with, by the way, I made sure to have my microphone in for this one. It actually really bothered me that last week I didn't have my microphone plugged in because the audio quality was significantly worse. And also the last few weeks I've actually not been using the Mike Brown book. Maybe it's giving me good luck or bad luck, who knows, to go back to using the Boylston chess sheets. Anyway, remember I had been struggling for about a full month. Last week I won. I will say I think I'm out of my slump, which is good. The goal, I kind of calculated up, is I'm going to be playing in September, October, November, and December. It's 4 months of Tuesday Night Swiss. There's either 4 or 5 weeks. I'm playing every other Thursday, starting in September, because third club night is back. And I'll probably do one more major tournament with a 5 or 7 rounder. So I predict that I'll probably get about 30 to 35 games left of this year, of 2026. My rating was peaked at 1760. I was trying to push for 1800. And then after this month plus of slump, I've lost, including, this tournament, not quite 100 points of rating. I think I lost about 80 points of rating. I've dropped below 1700, unfortunately. My goal in those 35 games, again, I like setting the goal, is to hit that 1800 benchmark, and I've got 35-ish games to do it this year. Hope I can achieve that. We'll check in. But anyway, so then the person next on the list, you can only play the people they sit down in front of you. Unfortunately, Kartik is only about 1400. Again, provisional ratings, so you can't really tell. I don't like playing against provisional players because, number one, they tend to be wildly either, roughly seeded, but also even against players I'm kind of better than that have, been seeded lower than me, I tend to not beat them. I don't know why. This goes all the way back to Alex, who hasn't been at the club in a while, who I thought was pretty good. We had where I offered him the draw of the pawn endgame. I really should have pushed for the win, and he ended up losing to everybody else, but I couldn't beat him. Where am I going with that? I don't know. Otherwise, Kartik and I had a really nice conversation before the game tonight. The chess room was incredibly hot tonight. I do think that actually made an impact on me. More about that in a moment. And when I say a moment, more about that when I get to that point in the game. But he had, we were kind of not picking each other's brains, but he said, when did you start playing here? I said, a year ago. I said, you've been playing, I guess, for a few months, and he has just started playing over the board chess as well. So he started a few months ago. So it's kind of I'm a year ahead of him, if you will. And it's funny because I said, how are you going about studying? Or how are you going about learning, getting better? I said, have you been doing openings? He's like, not really. I haven't really been doing any opening stuff. I'm trying to think about like how, where I'm going to be seated, and then from there I'm going to kind of like work on what's kind of weak. I said, all right, that sounds great. Now, lately, the last few weeks, I've been doing a much better job of getting up and like looking at other people's games. Not for long, not like studying their positions, but actually, I'm finally at the point where I can like my memory has gotten better with chess actually, and I kind of have an idea of what everyone plays now. Obviously, I know that some people will watch these videos and kind of scout me through that, but I at least literally have seen what people play over the board, and I remember. The elephant always remembers. And Kartik, because he was new, I checked out a few of his games actually the last few weeks, and I knew that he was a D4 player. So obviously, if somebody plays like, okay, in my experience at the club level, people do not vary their openings. It just doesn't happen. I'm sure the master level and like tournament play and whatnot, especially super GMs, they play everything and anything all at once. But at the club level, that's not the case. So if they're a D4 player against player A, they're going to be a D4 player against player B and C and D and E and so on and so forth. So before tonight, I knew that I'd been switching. I made this comment in the last tournament about playing a new opening. And I figured today I did a tiny bit of prep. I'm slowly learning this opening. And again, more about that very quickly. But he plays D4, and what do you know, guys? I play D5. Yes, this may very well be my first D4, D5 over the board game. It's kind of wild. I've been an English rat player, which is a niche opening. And we're finally going to get some explosive openings here. Because after C4, do I play E6 and go for the age-old classic Queen's Gambit decline? Do I play pawn takes pawn and go for the Queen's Gambit accepted? Do I play a Slav formation and play C6? No, I do none of those. I like the Baltic defense. So welcome everybody. This is my first Baltic defense. I'm still very much learning. It's incredibly tricky opening, but there's a lot of tactics, and it's exciting. So you guys will see. I hammered this out, and in all fairness, I have been playing this a bit online. My results online with this opening have not been great, but I know that I need to learn it. I kind of wanted to. I think I do want to switch from D4, D6 to D4, D5, more conventional. I like having that opening in my back pocket. I probably will play it. I definitely play it over the board again, but this probably will be the normal opening going forward. So Kartik actually plays knight c3. It's totally normal. At the pro level, they normally just take the pawn first. But both these moves are totally fine. There's nothing wrong with this. In fact, these are the two major responses that I, of course, looked at. They can also play. What's funny is when I was playing d4, c4, I was playing this move to transpose to a Catalan and kind of ignore any of this Baltic bullshit. Because if you don't know exactly what you're doing from either side, you can get into a lot of trouble. And it's funny because we literally had this conversation about openings, and Kartik hasn't really looked at them that much, and you never know how honest people will be right before a chess game about what they have studied or whatever. But I completely believed him. And I play e6, which is the book move. It's the best move. Kartik takes, which is great. I mean, it would be very similar. We would have gotten a very similar position. No, we wouldn't. And the reason why is this is a completely different position, believe it or not, than this. And it looks the same, but I'm just gonna say it ain't. Not in the Baltic. Anyway, so this does change things a bit. And I remember the theory. I mean, I'm obviously, even though I'm kind of new to studying it, it means I'm kind of shady in a few moves. I'm not shady on this. You obviously take back. And then he plays Queen b3, which is one of the main moves. And it's obviously a main move that I've looked at because it looks incredibly scary, right? White is bearing down on this pawn. He's also attacking the b pawn. I vacated with my bish, so this is unprotected. Whatever are you supposed to do? Well, this is actually exactly what I wanted. And I was like, oh boy, because I play knight c6, which is the best move, and I just looked at this, queen b7. It looks like, oh my god, this is under attack. These are under attack. If I move a certain way, he might have these not there. He might have these, these checks. The knight is jumping. Oh god, it looks terrible for no, this is actually winning for black. But he actually plays this move. And it's funny because when we were in this position, so talking about time use, I had blitzed up to this point, and then I decided, I was like, Rob, don't be an idiot, slow the fuck down. And so in this position, I spent 4 minutes, because I knew that I was going to play knight c6, but when I was here, I remembered I studied queen takes b7. I wanted to remember the exact line, and I remembered it. But then in this position, I said to myself, oh shit, what if he goes queen takes d5? And that's exactly what he does. And he plays this, and I had to be prepared. So I'd spent 4 minutes in the previous position trying to remember what I should do. By the way, when I played knight c6, I thought to myself, okay, like this is a more niche move. It doesn't get played, very often. And you can immediately see it's completely losing for white. So again, as I said, I got a massive opening advantage. Yeah, it's the fourth most common move. I looked more into the conventional moves, so I would be ready for a conventional game. Knight f3 and e3. Classic moves. And I had done a lot of looking at queen takes b7, also winning for black, although I'm surprised that it's not higher in black's favor. But he plays this one, queen takes d5. So what I realized and what I hit him with is I hit him with the shimmy sham, and this is just a winning move. And the reason why is I figured it was knight takes pawn, obviously threatening this forkzilla. But the key here is that after I go knight takes, my knight is guarding the bish, so he can't play queen takes bishop. Moreover, if he gets jiggy with it, with this queen, I am threatening mate. Like, that's flat out crazy. Knight c2 is also mate. As you can tell, the queen cuts everything off. So we're in this position where after I realized that this is just winning, I start thinking to myself, maybe I'm going to have a move 7 win. Like, maybe this is going to be a 10-minute game. I'm going to go home, like, if only it was that easy. Kartik spends 10 minutes in this position. The problem with Kartik's position is there's no good move here. It's completely lost. It's -3 and change already. And I knew that e4 was the best move. So again, I was thinking in this position, back here, what I do against e4, because I had to remember it. And I remember, yeah. So this is the best move. So ask yourself, friends, what would you do in this position? Do you check? Do you move? I believe the move is to check. I believe you throw in the check first. Yeah. Knight c2 check. And everything just flows from there. But that doesn't happen, so we're not going to go too wild. I just wanted to test myself, because that's what I was planning on playing. But instead he plays queen e5 first. And after 10 minutes, in this position, he checks here. I do my second think of the game. I drop down. Oh, and by the way, I think I mentioned this time usage. I use a little bit more time than Kartik throughout this game, but I finished with more than 20 minutes. He finished with more than 30. I don't think time trouble was an issue at all. In fact, there was one stretch late where I was hot, kind of overheated. Wish I just spent a little more time just to kind of like put the game away. But I didn't. And again, that's not a spoiler for who won or lost. It may mean I threw the game completely. It's very possible. We'll see. So obviously he's checking. I can't block with the queen, because then I am no longer defending the knight, and he would just be able to snap it off. So clearly, wow, shoot, I put my score sheet. I have a seltzer next to my laptop, and I guess it's like a little bit wet, maybe perspiration or whatnot. And it seems as though it got the score sheet a little bit wet. All right, not a big deal. Not a big deal. So really, there's 3 moves here. I can block, I can block, I can block. I didn't want to block here because I thought it's very important to cut off his king. Threaten this where it's protected, so he can't defend that way. I also thought that if I could block and defend with a piece, I'm kind of developing this piece as well. In the Baltic, you often are looking for bishop b4. There's a lot of actually mates with bishop b4. It's quite wild. It can be quite serious. So I thought instinctually this move blocks in the bishop, because it's not so easy for me to develop. And also, again, I saw that if I play it, which is what I do, I play here. I mean, of course, he never has queen takes. This is just checkmate. But in a lot of lines where if he defends that, it's really hard to defend it, to be completely honest. It's really hard to defend this. Again, this is like a losing position. But in a lot of lines, let's say he's able to do so, I always calculated that queen takes g7 was going to lead to a lot of trouble, because with my bishop positioned like so this was kind of a bait. I'd actually trap his queen. He wouldn't be able to go out that way. He obviously can't take, it's guarded. That square would be taken, that square would be taken. I guess he'd have that square in some of these positions. So maybe it wouldn't be trapped, but I'd have to go back. Maybe he plays this later. I don't know. I just remember thinking that I could reroute like so. Yeah, and as it turns out, you guys can see from the computer, I mean, they're both winning, but this is the more accurate move. I just didn't know. I mean, at this point, we're obviously out of book, and this should be winning, so it's kind of up to me to figure out a plan going forward. Again, I just didn't want to block in the bishop, and I thought bishop f6, even just like, in a lot of positions, just to kind of trying to skewer his queen would be good. In this position, now Partik plays e4, which I thought was mandatory. And yeah, I've got to make another decision. At this point in the game, I was looking for like a kill shot. I honestly thought that maybe there was like a checkmate here, or just a crushing attack, and I was getting a little upset. I couldn't find it. Thankfully, I did find the best move. I thought all lines start with knight c2 check, and the reason why is, as you can tell, the queen is cutting off his king. So he can't move in, so he only can move up. And the reason why this is so good from a positional perspective is, first of all, he loses castling rights, and his bishop is hemmed in. And if I can ever get my queen up, I thought that, again, there's just a lot of mating ideas here. Basically, getting my queen to d3 means the game is over. So I thought all roads led there. And, yeah. And I also knew that maybe I could just take, I could just play off an exchange. I was like, okay, that's good. I didn't think that was like as good. I thought the game was over here, so I was kind of looking for the knockout blow. And it looks like I found the best move. After this position, I rescue the bishop. I thought that if I played back here to rescue, in a lot of positions, f3, I don't know about here, but this becomes kind of a bad piece, and it severs contact with my knight. So I always had to do these knight jumps, kind of backwards guarded and everything, so I still think this is totally great. But it felt more natural for me to, A, anchor in this pawn, B, enable me to not be pinned, so I freed up my bishop, and C, I thought I reinvited a threat, which is a huge threat, bishop c4, hitting the king. This is still taken out, and this square is taken out, so I'd have to force him basically out continually in public. And I saw in all those lines I'm picking up a free piece. Partik decides to rescue his rook. I told him after the game I thought that this had to be the best move. It's what I was calculating he'd play. Maybe he's supposed to just sack it, just because. Oopsies. Oops. I guess that revealed I won. Okay. Well, I won this game. But yeah. I thought that everything else, like, let's just say he sacks it, like, I don't know, develops a piece or so. I don't know. Like, this just looks very, 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 very good for me. It's -4 position. Yeah, I thought that, obviously I can always just take there. That once we just start consolidating these pieces, it's just over. It's all over, baby. So I thought that his only real try is to hang on to the material and rescue the rook. Yeah, so after move 10, I'm looking at my score sheet here. Looks like I spent another 5 minutes here. And the reason I spent 5 minutes is I was looking for the win. I saw that I'm taking away this square, I'm taking away this square. I wanted to move in. And unfortunately, I kept trying to make bishop c4 work. But the problem is, as soon as he moves his queen, as soon as he moves his king, my queen can't infiltrate because his bishop actually is guarding. So I start looking at like moves like bishop f6, just kind of dislodges the queen. I look at just developing, thinking I'm so far ahead that I can literally just chill mode, and his king is literally hemming in his minor pieces. I did not consider that because I would king the bish. Yeah, so I looked at all those moves, and I decided that I should stay with the lead with initiative because, I mean, look at his freaking king, number one. And number two, look at his pieces. You know what I mean? Like, I just have an advantage. So I thought that I needed to keep my foot on the gas. And even though I liked the development move, okay, it looks like I did play the best move. That's good. This looked like the most sense. So I check him. This is forced, only move. And I kept looking at different mating ideas. And again, if I can ever get my queen here, it's over. So this is taken away. And actually, it's funny is if he runs, I saw that I have these h5 ideas. And with his king there, he can't move over because it's taken away. And he can't go down there because then I have these moves. Checkmate. Hopefully you guys see that. That would be taken away. That would be the box. And my queen would be up here. So anyway, so this position, I'm like, okay, like, how do I get my queen there? We just take the bishop. And I guess it's the best move, or one of the best moves. It's a free piece, too. And I'm like, okay, like, the threat's pretty clear. If I can get my queen here, it's over. I thought his only move is knight d5. I'm actually kind of curious here. Yeah, only move knight d5. I guess bishop e3 works, too. Yeah, I saw on all those lines, if I check him, he can block, but then after, like, takes, it's all the same. I'm just gonna smoke him out. Yeah. So he blocks. And like, we reached this position, and, like, Kartik has spent only 17 minutes, and I've spent 28 minutes. I wasn't worried that I'd spent 20 minutes. I thought that, you know, I'm literally up a full piece for nothing. And I have the attack, and his king is on f3 for some reason. So, yeah, this is kind of where, like, I got, not frustrated, but I was like, I kept looking for, like, the killing blow. The killing blow. And I didn't know if it was c6. I didn't know what to do here. And the thing is, if you can tell his threat here, if you can call it that, Kartik is technically threatening knight takes c6, c7, forking the pieces. And I saw that if I allow this in a lot of lines, like if the king is not here, I'm going to end up doing king move. You guys can probably see it in the move list. So I actually like my move a lot, but apparently it's not that good according to the computer. Is I have this bishop d6. The reason why I thought that was good is in those lines I'd be hitting the queen, cutting off, again, support, freeing my queen to just mate him, but also perhaps just picking up another piece. And I thought in order to do that, I just need to simply move the king. That was one move I considered. I can't obviously move the bishop yet, as it's pinned. I considered just a very simple queen d6, but it doesn't work, mind you, because I think he could just take, and I can't take, because then he would take my queen. I'm actually curious then, given what I played, what the best move is. Computer just likes the very simple c6, just kind of bump and run, just be like, yo, get out of there. And I guess if he checks, then I move over. If he takes here, it's just nasty mode, because this is probably over. In fact, it's mate in 11. Okay. For the record, I also was always calculating these knight checks, but I thought, like for example here, knight check, he moves over. I didn't see the follow-up. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing here. Apparently it's still just c6. Oh, actually this is pretty gross. You can just take this pawn as well. Yeah, this is one of the lines I looked at. Hitting him and just start, like, look at where your pieces are and his pieces. It's a comical position. Anyway, I thought my move was clever. I literally just played king f8 because, for two reasons. Number one, this doesn't work anymore because now I actually am threatening bishop d6. Number two, the bishop is free to roam because I'm no longer pinned. Oh, and number three, I'm also, even though I thought that I would trap his queen anyway, now, again, I'm freed up because my king is just guarding g7. I saw a lot of positions. He actually has a very funny move. In fact, the move I suggested to him here was this. Opening up a discovery. Like, I would take, he would take. But there's nothing here for... There's nothing here for white. Yeah, it's still just winning for me. I thought that maybe this was kind of tricky. The idea, of course, that he's, like, hammering home with basically trying to coordinate the bishop and the queen for, like, a mate threat. But it doesn't quite work. Um, no, not for the record. So this game, you guys saw I won. I basically got this opening advantage, and for like 30 moves, it was like -4. I was slightly inaccurate to press, and Kartik defended pretty well, but like the outcome was never in doubt. I'll show you the game review at the end. So on one hand, did I play a good game? It was okay. It was a great opening. So this kind of goes to show, Kartik was saying he doesn't study the openings, at least not yet. You got to. But once you reach a certain phase, if you just lose games in the opening, and this game was lost in the opening for him, it's not that fun. He defended quite well, I will say. Like, he held his own for like 30 moves here, but the outcome was never in doubt. Anyway, so I really like this move. Again, the computer doesn't, and I thought I'm just sidestepping. It's like, basically I'm trying to focus on prophylaxis. Yeah, it's not a bad move. King F8, it's the 5th best move. They like the knight check, they like just, and again, I looked at c6, and it's pretty obvious. Bishop c4 here. I ended up playing that, so obviously I was looking at that here. Knight f6, and I looked at that too. I thought those were all, like, reasonable moves. I didn't love knight f6, because I thought that, I mean, I guess this is fine for me. Like, this is pins, so after takes. And, like, I don't know, I not that I got boogeymaned, but I thought that, like, there was absolutely no reason to take any risk. And like maybe this is still just outstanding for me. I don't know. Yeah, everything just wins. Anyway, I think Kartik played this the best move. He plays bishop f4. He's applying more heat here. He is also discovering an attack on my bishop. And yeah, and like this is a spot where I spent 10 minutes because I was annoyed at this point. Because I was annoyed because I was like, how do I not have a win here? How is this game not over? And it didn't feel over because all of a sudden, from me being completely active and just winning the piece, now all of a sudden, he's active. He's got the piece in the center of the board. He's hitting my minor piece, and I'm like, holy shit, how did this happen? So, I calculate here, I calculate here, I calculate here. My first initial move was to go bishop a6, and I thought that can't be right. I realized that if I play here, he doesn't actually have it discovered. It looks like I'm giving him another discovered attack. But I saw on all those lines, I could literally just move the pawn. I also thought if I give back a pawn in this position, especially to get my pieces free, I'm fine with that. And I also saw that if he moves this knight, I always now have this check, which again is lethal. And that's what I was calculating. So I was like, okay, if I can move his knight here, like let's say he moves it here, this I thought was just over. Obviously he can then block and we just play like this position, fine. This looks completely simple for me. Still -4. There's -4 forever, basically. In fact, h5 is the best move. But I thought we would be trading pieces and whatnot. And the line I saw is if he runs, I saw here, this is taken away, this is taken away. So he only has these two moves. He goes, excuse me, this is the only move. And then after this, boom. Checkmate. Which would be nice. Right. So I was looking at all that. So at the end of the day, what did the computer like? They still like c6. Okay. Meh. My move was here. Still a very good move. One of the better moves. Again, I thought that there were some lines where I actually wanted to reroute it like so, maybe like so. Again, applying pressure that way. I thought I could make myself an outpost, play a5, something like that. It just looked good. I'm rescuing my bishop. I thought there's no reason to give him the bishop back. And then he trades. And I was like, wow, this is like an active piece. This was not developed. I thought this was a clear mistake. By the way, apparently the computer prefers queen takes. Surprises me because I thought that like this just develops the piece, like gets it out of there. But yeah, I mean, it's one of these things. Whatever. I play here, and then he goes back, and it looks, and like this is another reason why I didn't want to play here, even though this apparently is the best move on the computer, because I thought there were a lot of lines where he plays queen c3. I don't think here it works, but maybe it does. Wow, because of this sacrifice, and then f5. I didn't see this, obviously. and then takes with check. Okay, and that's just devastating. I didn't see that. I didn't see this. I didn't see that because because this was my first instinct, because this looks great, because you're setting up a discovered attack, you're cementing in the knight. But again, I didn't see what to do against this move. And is that the only move? No, apparently there's a lot of other moves. Like, you can go here, then after takes. Oh, then you take this one. Oh, I see. A lot of tricks. I mean, when you're so far ahead, so winning, there's always tactics and stuff. But anyway, I didn't see that. Bishop sack, king takes, f5 to dislodge the defender, and then queen takes knight. Beautiful, really. But it also speaks to how winning the position is when like everything is just tactics. And that's again why I dropped all the way back here, because I thought if it doesn't matter, which is what happens. So he trades, I take, and he attacks me here. And the reason why I saw this didn't matter, as I did what apparently is the wrong thing, but I thought that my first instinct was to keep queens up, because I'm like, all right, his king is in the middle of the board. I should just try to mate this guy. Like, come on, Rob. Like, let's try to just mate him. And this is a better move, keeping the pieces on. Problem was, after here, I didn't see how to follow up, and I thought that like maybe this was going to be annoying and kind of rough. But computer wants this move. Didn't see this, of course. Giving away the piece so that you can check him like so. And apparently if he goes like here, you sack another piece for this, and you set up a mate. Wow. All right. That's what I mean, like, with computer tactics and stuff. So, apparently I'm supposed to see that you're supposed to sack all the knights, and you made them. I didn't see that. And I'm going to be honest, around move 15, I didn't spend much time here. It looks like from move 14 to 18, I only spent like 5 minutes. But apparently if I had seen these sacrifice ideas, then obviously I would have done them. But I wasn't looking for tactics like that here, because I'm up a pure piece for nothing. I was honestly just pretty happy to consolidate. I was hoping that if I can get my queen in, I did see those mates, but it felt unnecessary. Maybe I should have tried to be more technical. This was a game where I think my accuracy, because you can see a lot of these like yellow moves, he maintained again for 30 moves of defense, and because I wasn't that technically sound, but I was completely winning the whole time. So I just did the natural thing. I just said, fuck it, let's just trade queens. This should be pretty easy. This is just really easy to win. He attacks me. I drop back. My idea here, same deal. I want to hit him on this diagonal, hit him with the gritty. I have the flexibility of supporting the knight. I would love to get a knight to d4. Whoopsies. Alright. And so Kartik plays move a3. He said he was trying to take away knight b4. I told him I didn't like it because A, it's slow, B, it doesn't really do anything else. C, I literally, he's never trapping me. I can, worst case, always just play bishop a4. I guess he would try to trap me this way, because if he goes that way, I literally can just check and run. So I thought, I played the best move. At least these last few moves, I'm playing the best moves, which is nice. Can't argue with that, yeah. Oh, f5 is actually even better. Just to break down the pawn, I guess. Alright, whatever. No, c5. Now the computer likes my move better. Yeah, and I play c5 here. It made a lot of sense. First off, it's en prise, so I'm defending it by just moving it. But more importantly, I thought I'd just make a nice outpost for the knight. It's a checking square. I can support it. I can get my, I can fight for the d file. Just look very, very, very nice. Kartik attacks it with his bishop. The initial instinct is just to play b6, but I thought here, it looks like I was technically sound. I did play the best move. I thought throwing in the check was better. And the reason why is I saw after here, I thought he had rook d5, which I didn't want him to play. Maybe it's a bad move. I mean, he's just losing anyway, but... Oh, what, I'm such a moron. I'm literally... Oh, no, it's pinned. I guess if I go here, I'm kind of slamming it in, which removes the pin and lets me hit. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, that just gets a whole bunch of trades. Yeah, anyway, I thought that with this line, I basically thought that I could shut down his rook as far as defending the bishop. That was that simple. I was always moving it there. I'm always doing that. I can throw this check in first. We'll see where he goes. He goes in. I don't want to ignore this. Let him take and then leave this undefended. So again, initial reaction is b6, but then I thought I'd found a forcing sequence. I saw... Wait, I do play b6 here? I thought I checked him, but I guess I didn't check him. Now they like b6. Okay, it's all pretty good. They also just like just attacking. I didn't see this move. I thought if anything in this position... Well, first off, if I play rook c8, I didn't like this, because I thought he could just take... And then after trade, he wins a pawn. Yeah, I get the 7th. He has some threats here. I saw that I was always blocking with the bishop, so it's not going to be like... I have a weird back rank problem, which I kind of wanted to resolve with like f6 and just move my king to f7. Hopefully that makes sense to peeps. But apparently, according to the computer, this is the best move. I didn't look at this. I thought, what happens after... Oh, doi. No, this one's not actually hard to say. You have this check, as you can tell, and the bishop cuts off the king. He can't move in, so when he moves over, now we just pick up a free rook. Yeah, that's why the computer likes. That's why the computer likes rook d8. Remember, all these positions, I'm super winning, but you can be more winning. You know, there were tactics here. And again, at this point in the game, I'm very hot, and I'm moving a lot faster. I'd used a lot of time in the opening just trying to remember and then trying to execute, and then I did spend a lot of time trying to look for that like mating web and knockout blow. And then here I'm kind of making faster moves, to be completely honest. And Kartik is keeping pace. He's playing pretty fast as well at this point. Kartik plays b4. He's trying to just like, break down the tension. And my initial reaction was, okay, like obviously it's not to take, because then he just takes here. I didn't want to do that. But my initial reaction was to just play knight e6 and just maintain the tension. I'm kind of curious if that's actually the best move. I thought I played the best move. Yeah, like this is still fine. It's not the best move, but it's fine. Computer likes still this rook d8. I didn't see that here. Again, the idea if they take, you just check. He's split off and you just pick up a free rook, because he's the one that's pinned. And if you go rook 8 and he trades here, now you're defending. If he ever just trades like that, we just have a really strong bastion. Again, this is very simple, very easy to win. Anyway, I thought I saw a really nice forcing sequence to basically get pieces off. I played the check here. I didn't think he would run out, but I did briefly look at that, because once he goes here, I saw that there's a forking square on c4 to win his piece. And so I'm forking number 1, I'm winning the a pawn, and and I had a few options here. Option number 1 was, after pawn takes. Option number 1 was checking him like so, forking, and then like let's say he moves in, I go here, he goes here, and I thought this was still very winning, but I thought there's no reason to give him the connected pawns in the middle of the board. It gives him something to play for. I'm assuming I go here, but maybe I go out wide. I'm actually kind of curious. I didn't give this much thought at this point. They like g6, yeah, and this is obviously still very winning. But he can't play this now because I can just take. But I thought that the passed pawn with the rook behind it, I knew that this was winning for me, but I thought that maybe this was headache-inducing. So I thought I saw something better. Again, that's what I was going to go for. Like, that's his active piece. It's pinning me. I have some back rank issues because I can't escape like this. Instead, after he goes pawn takes, I go pawn takes. And my idea, I thought he was just going to go bishop takes, hitting the knight, rook check, wherever he moves. He probably would move in. I'm actually kind of curious what the best move is here. Oh, no, he has to defend. Yeah, c1. And I was gonna, okay, they like rook c8. Oh yeah, and of course, and pinning. Right. Instead, he moves the king first, and I realized that this is some sort of problem. So first of all, I wanted to play rook d8 here, but I thought after takes, it kind of like softens me up. I don't know. I wasn't really sure. So they probably like rook d8 still. Yeah, rook d8 is like the key idea. King e8 makes a lot of sense, just breaking this pin. And they like my move. Okay, no, that's not what I played. They don't like my move? No, my move is still very good. Okay. And I thought in this position, why not just hold the pawn? I'm now lined up to his king. I'm going to be able to hopefully break free. And I thought if I can just land, a6 with the outpost and jump my knight in, I've won another pawn. Like, that looks great. He attacks me. Only move. I'm hitting the bish. He takes. I take. I think this is great. He takes me with check. I'm like, okay, whatever. I move up. So it looks like I'm making kind of all best moves here. My idea here is now I've freed up my rook. He's kind of helped me in that regard. My king is centralized. I'm guarding the f-pawn. And once I can clarify this position, I can just push the pawn. And it's really simple. He still hasn't developed the king side. Kartik plays rook b7. And at this point, move 28. I'm still kind of blitzing. I'm going to be honest. From move... I kind of thought the game was over. I got kind of, not threw in the towel, but I kind of took my foot off the gas for sure. From move like 14 to move, where we were 31, to move 31, I only spent like 15 minutes on these 15 moves. I was kind of going through the motions, and it kind of shows because I wasn't fully accurate. The reason why is I actually got myself into a little bit of trouble. I wasn't lying about that in the beginning of the video. I have to maintain contact of bishop on knight. I thought this was only move. It's not. I moved too fast here. This is a much better move. Backwards moving the knight. Hitting the rook, guarding the bishop, creating a threat. This is like way better. In fact, this is just way better. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself that I didn't find this move. Yeah, he can pin me. He's threatening this, but not really. I could just take. And then after a move such as rook b8, just offering a trade of rooks, I'm going to have all my rooks centralized. His pieces are still in the game. This is a passed pawn. It should be incredibly simple to win. Instead, I mean, that's like a very logical, probably easy move to find. I kind of mess up, and I play bishop here. And the reason why I played this is I thought that I was clever. I saw that I was guarding against these checks, thinking, if he has some kind of tactic, oh, my knight's actually taken away. And I saw he could never really put more pressure on the knight because this pawn's taking it away. He hits me. I said, whatever. And the very obvious move is just to go rook a8, which basically forces rooks off. If he goes here, I get my last piece in the game. Again, I have 3 active pieces. He's got 2 passive pieces. Very, very simple. I should beat pretty much everyone in this position. Instead, I play too quickly, and I had this idea of doubling my rooks. But unfortunately, I'm sure you guys can see, I blundered a tactic here. In this position, he can go rook takes bishop, rook takes, king takes. And yes, is this completely winning for me? Yes. Should I have done this? No. This was a mistake. Computer still says -5, so I guess the material, just because of passivity, the fact that it is still 2 rooks against a rook and 2 rooks against a rook and a knight. But whatever. What I realized in this position as well, the move I told him I should play, I told him I actually was looking at knight d6 here, supporting, because I didn't like this knight check and then having him get active, especially with knight jumps. I also saw this move, same deal, protecting, threatening the trades, and of course if he checks, this does nothing. I immediately hit, and I thought after this, it still doesn't really do anything. I was fine with this position. Although it's actually, I have less of an edge. This is not as good. The idea is he can't take, because then I just take. But it does look like I've messed it up. So here, I told him the move I should have played was knight d6. It is the best move, of course, and that's what I should have played. Actually, the move I played was fine too. But I thought that I could be really clever, and just, again, prophylaxis was like the name of the game. I had been failing to make a lot of prophylactic moves. I'd move h6, which looks like a dumbass move. Still gets a star by the computer. But the move I don't want to face is this knight check, exerting pressure, on my f7 pawn, and I thought this does everything. It like maybe I'm gonna play g5. I'm knocking away his knight. That's great. Unfortunately, I still blundered the tactic. Like if I just played here, he doesn't have this rook takes bishop anymore. This is super winning for black. Well, apparently not because of. Well, now they don't like this move. Knight d6. Now they like knight a3. Oh, threatening this fork. I wasn't considering this move, but I understand it. But I was not considering that. I like knight a3. I thought knight d6 was like a pretty obvious move. And apparently h6. I was okay. H6 is just as good. I was really beating myself up in the game. Like, you have to understand. On move 31, I've played the last 15 moves in like 15 minutes. I have about 40 minutes left, not quite. After I played this, because he now goes into this one, I told him in this position, I was kind of worried about this move, which would have been the best move. And there's still ways to kind of get out of everything. I would have played up. I did not want to play this. Yeah, I would have played up. I told him that this is kind of what I calculated, and I still think I kind of come out on top, but I was less than happy. Let me put it that way. Something like this. I guess now I've got the knight d6 to defend and attack. Yeah, something like that. All right. Sloppy by me. Instead, Kartik cashes in right away. He goes rook takes bishop, rook takes, king takes. And again, it's completely winning for me. It's a -4 position. But it's been -4 for like literally almost like 30 moves. I told you he basically, defended pretty admirably, and I was not very technically sound. So finally at this I said, all right, Rob, like I lost the exchange, like the 2 pieces for the rook. I'm pretty sure I'm very, very winning. Like let's just fucking win. Like enough of this. So I said to myself, do I want to be passive and defend the pawn? It's probably fine. In fact, I thought it was probably pretty good because I can basically start pushing it like so. But I thought, wait. If he takes this pawn, this whole side's open space with 2 rooks. I could just ladder-mate him. And I'm like, damn, that's pretty good, right? Like, let's just mate him on the board. Like, okay. So I looked at rook c8. I looked at rook d8. And then the move I played, which is rook a2, which looks like I'm just giving the pawn, which it is, to go here. I didn't look at rook a4 because I thought that after rook a4, like rook take pawn some lines, I didn't want to give him, I mean, right now it doesn't work because of an h6 move, but I thought that the only way I don't win this game, or win slowly, is if I fall victim to some kind of knight fork, so I just wanted to be extra cognizant of that, and I thought if my rook was far from my king, I didn't have to worry about that, so I just didn't want a headache at all. So I literally go about doing that. I play here. He takes the pawn, and I play what I thought was a very clever move, rook d8. What is the most accurate move here? Is it just to take the pawn? I consider just taking the pawn. Yeah, of course, I should just take the pawn. But, with this move, I'm creating the ladder. Whoopsies. I'm cutting his king off, very important. I calculated, of course, this is the best move and what I thought happened here. And then he pushes. It's a clever move. You guys can see this. If I take, all of a sudden I'm not winning anymore. He goes here, it goes here, boom. And this is, not good for me anymore. This would be a good way to blunder the game. I wasn't going to fall for that, of course. I saw all that, but still, good move by him. I move to the side, and as you can tell, it's still like in that -3, 3.5 zone where it's been for 30 moves now. Annoying I can't put him away, but he's defending pretty well. This is too passive. He's trying to protect the pawn. And I attack the knight. What the thinking is, if he gets out of here, like, I thought if he went somewhere random, that hopefully, if I do something like check, he has to move over here because his king is cut off. Probably wouldn't go there. Let's say he goes somewhere like this. That after I pin him, that maybe I can scoot the knight. That was my hope anyway. this is just completely winning. He goes in here. They like bishop c2, which makes a lot of sense. Kind of threat, all these threats kind of going on through. Instead, Kartik plays here, and I said, "Oh, Bama Bing Bong, I'm gonna win." Not that this was in doubt, but finally I breathed a sigh of relief, and I said, "All right, I got it together. Let's do this." So I play these best moves. I get him to the side of the board. I play what I thought was a very accurate move. I'm threatening checkmate. So this move is forced, only move in the position for my friend. And in this position, I kept thinking to myself, am I a scrub for not finding the checkmate here? I said, I don't see it. He's cut off. His rook is forever passive. His king's on the side of the board. I said I said maybe technically like I have a checkmate here, but I didn't see it. Okay, I played the best move. All right, I'm glad. Because I was beating myself up a little bit, to be completely honest, for not ending this game sooner. Like, I know that's a mark of a good player, just ending games, putting them away. I didn't really do that. But it does look like I play the best moves here. So then I just take the pawn, because why not? He checks me. I thought this was a bad move. I mean, it's the best move according to the computer, or one of them. But one of his only threats is if I take, he has this fork. Again, another fork I saw. But I thought once he checks, I wanted my king on h7, kind of hiding away. Because now, after he moves the knight, doesn't do anything, just a spite check on the rook. I can move up here. Rook is still tied down, because at any point I can potentially, ladder him on the side of the board. Push the pawn, doesn't do anything. I take the pawn, another free pawn. He moves the knight, no threat. I attack the pawn, he defends. And now I say, fuck it, I'm just going to connect them. I'm going to trade these rooks, and enough of this. He goes here, I go here, defending the pawn. Looks like he's concocting some kind of discovered attack. I decide there's nothing to worry about. There is no discovery. He tries to discover on me. We trade rooks. I move my king in. He moves his king in. And for the final move of the game, then he finally resigns, is I sack the rook. And the reason why is after... Oops. I don't want this show... Well, because this isn't what happened. But yeah, I mean, obviously take, but... Let's say... I'm just going to make a random move. No, that's not a random move. Okay, some situation like... There we go. Some situation like this, after... we get here, this is completely winning and very easy. I'm shouldering his king off. If I only had one pawn, it's still winning. But I can basically get in here. So let's say he tries to, run on in. First off, I can shoulder him off if I want. But I can also just play these pawns, make a pass pawn. The reason why is if I push and he takes, I take. His king is cut off. I easily win. If he doesn't, I take. And it's just, as you guys can tell, mate 22, great. And there's zero counterplay. It's finally done. So that was the game. I think in this one, I played a new opening. It went incredibly well. And although I don't think I displayed terrific technique, yeah, like you guys can see, he fell for a bolted trap. I was completely winning. I basically sat on the complete win for 40 moves or however long it was. 83.4, not the most terrific accuracy, but not a bad game, Considering it's a new opening, I'm okay with it. I'm going to add this to the August Swiss, and I'm going to call it here because I don't think there's really much else that needs to be said. So I finished the August Swiss just outside the money. I didn't do as badly as I was going to do after the one. I finished with 2 wins. That's good. I lost about 30 points from that performance. I think if I didn't draw against Svian, I probably would have only lost a little bit of points. It's really rough, when you're 1750 or so, playing against 1500. Unrated, let's say 1400. 1400, and we'll say 1400, something like that. So on average 1400. So on average I have more than 300 points on my opponents roughly. It means I have to go basically better than 3 out of 4 to actually gain rating. I think if I go 3.5 out of 4, I would have gained a little bit of rating. But yeah, so my rating's been knocked down. I'm below the mark to be able to be in the open section for next month. And my challenge is pretty simple. I've got to win this tournament next month. That's what I'm gonna set out to do. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.